Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am your host for today, Kasala Kamal, lecturer at PIBT Law School and attorney at law. Before we move forward, let me give you a quick look at who we are at PIBT. We are a higher education institute that brings global university standards to Sri Lanka through our partnership with the University of Greenwich. And let me introduce our speaker for the session, which Dr. Justin Brunskell, academic whose work has shaped classrooms and legal minds across borders. He leads the LLM in International and Commercial Law at the University of Greenwich and brings a deep understanding of how global education prepares students for real practice. He also serves as the lead tutor for PIBT Sri Lanka. The legal profession has always carried a proud history built on justice, advocacy, and public trust. And that foundation still matters today. But a modern legal career reaches far beyond traditional courtrooms. Lawyers now deal with digital evidence, cross-border disputes, international business, global compliance, and rapid changes in technology. The job is less about memorizing statutes and more about analytical thinking, adaptability, strong communication, and the ability to move between different legal systems. To begin, could you walk us through what is happening in the global legal arena right now?
Yes, my pleasure. I mean, law has always been global in some nature. It's starting with the need for contract law and the expansion of shipping and technology in the 19th century. But now, in the digital age, essentially as the world is becoming smaller, as we're getting more better communicated, law is becoming even more global. And so if we're looking at things like transnational crimes and advances in criminal law, we're getting more and more cross-border crimes. We're being cases of cyber hacking, international fraud, or even criminal gangs operating internationally with things like people trafficking and smuggling. And all of these are areas that have really exploded in the last 10 years or so. Crime has gone beyond sort of things of being at a local level, or when you think about international gangs, we sort of think about organized crime and drug gangs and things. Now it's much more likely to be based on the internet, with people committing internet crimes across borders from their own homes. There's also been a growth in state-sponsored internet crime, which has presented a lot of challenges. For instance, the UK economy was quite badly hurt recently by a cyber attack against the Jaguar Land Rover, which actually showed up on the GDP figures and slowed down a lot of manufacturing in the UK. And that was an international in nature, but having quite a local effect. And with the advent of things like cryptocurrency as well, it's made it much easier to move funds around the world. And that's obviously had an impact on things like financing terrorism and money laundering and financing of organized crime. So things that used to be considered to be quite local, sort of just money laundering laws and banking regulations, are now becoming actually international and global in nature. But that's sort of on the criminal side of it. On the commercial side of it, as we're shipping more and more goods and doing more and more business around the world, again, you need a prospective lawyer, an aspiring lawyer, needs to have a much more global appreciation of the rules around moving goods, the International Sale of Goods Act, standard form shipping contracts, but really importantly, forum fixing. So the ability to choose jurisdictions as well, and work out which jurisdiction is most advantageous to have your case heard if it comes to court.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, let us look at what sets a global law degree apart. Many students wonder about the difference between studying law locally and studying through an international program. They also want to know how UK-based exposure supports career opportunities, networking, and mentorship. Dr. Brunskell, could you walk us through the real value of a global law degree offers and how it shapes a student's long-term career path?
Yes, of course. The law degree we're offering at the University of Greenwich in partnership with PIBT is a degree based in English common law. And English common law is one of the big legal systems that has shaped the legal systems of lots of other countries. So it's directly relevant to all the Commonwealth countries and the US. So by studying with us, what you'll be getting is a degree that's global in nature, by its very nature. And a lot of the concepts you'll get and the understanding the skills you get can be directly transferred to any legal system. What we're trying to do is offer you not just a knowledge, but also a skill-based system that means that you can take the transferable skills from one country to another. Now, the advantage of having a global and international focus on this is that once you've learned the concepts, say, behind copyright law, for instance, you can then go and apply that anywhere in the world, because a lot of law now is based on international treaties. So you'll have a treaty saying that you'll be having a law on this to cover the basics, then it'll be implemented individually by different countries. So the details may be different, but if you have a global perspective, you will understand the underlying concepts behind it. So then it's very easy to take all of that and then apply that knowledge and the skills you gained. Now, this is really important, not just for, as mentioned earlier, things like the more international nature of criminal law, but also basic commercial disputes. Global companies want lawyers who understand multiple legal systems and can navigate the international rules. So having a global law degree, studying with PIBT in Greenwich, gives you an advantage over just having a law degree based in one system or a narrow perspective. But also, what you get with a more global perspective is essentially career opportunities due to mentoring and exposure to other legal systems. Mentoring advantages with the UK, networking with UK lawyers and UK students. And the UK is one of the big legal systems and legal centres. You'll find that a lot of international disputes are settled in the UK because we have essentially trusted courts as well. So often what will happen is that international companies will have a forum fixing clause written into the contract that will say that disputes will be held in this country, and that country often happens to be the UK. So this having an international focus on the law degree opens up many more opportunities and gives you a much wider experience base, essentially, which can only be good for your career.
Thank you, Doctor. And for the next part of our session, we want to shift into the practical side of the legal education. Students often ask what skills actually matter once they start practicing. Dr. Brunskell, could you explain key skills law graduates need today, how training like mock trials and internships supports them, and why studying law at PIBT strengthens their pathway into global legal careers.
Right, yes. I mean, so a law degree and even a local law degree will build solid foundations. But the international aspect will give you a much broader framework to work with. And the whole point and the skills we're trying to impart is that a legal education pushes you to analyze and problem solve at a level that's recognized worldwide. And these analytical and problem solving skills are probably the single most important skill set you can learn. You also will have get some exposure to cultural dynamics and influences, and so an ability to build up a rapport with a client and build client relationships. And this is helped through sort of networks and skills. But some of the skills we impart are things such as legal drafting, negotiations, and client management. But critically, and underpinning all of this, are these critical thinking and analytical skills that help you. And we impart this by trying to give you hands-on learning with things like mock trials, internships, legal clinics, mentoring with lawyers, and mooting. And so the whole idea is to give you a broad skill set that you can take and use in any jurisdiction or careers outside law, just in business as well, because things like negotiation, analysis, and building client relationships are important in any business, not just a legal career. So, these career paths are open both locally, so in Sri Lanka, or internationally. The corporate law is international in nature. Getting your bar qualifications and qualifying as a lawyer means it's much more easy to cross-qualify as well. And, working internationally in international firms. So one of the things that a law degree at Greenwich will give you is this solid foundation of critical thinking and an appreciation of the international nature and global nature of law.
Thank you, Doctor. And Doctor, could you explain what makes PIBT a unique and effective platform for students pursuing international recognized law degree?
Right. So PIBT, in conjunction with Greenwich, gives you this internationally recognised law degree because it follows the English law degree standard. In fact, you're getting the same degree as you would in the UK. Now, what this does is gives you the UK level of academic standards. So all the curriculum assessments and quality is matching exactly what is being delivered in the UK. And this ensures absolutely rigorous training and standards. So at PIBT, you will be sitting the same assessments as the student in Greenwich. It goes through the same marking and moderation process, goes through our exam boards. So it is absolutely rigorous degree with an internationally recognised university. And in fact, you have the same degree certificate as if you studied within the UK. It's only your transcript that'll say you studied PIBT. And what you also get at PIBT is a connection to business and the legal framework in Sri Lanka. The teachers at PIBT are all qualified lawyers. And so they can give you these practical industry relevant skills. You'll get skills doing things like mock trials mooting, legal clinics and internships and workshops, again, to give you these transferable real world skills that are needed. And PIBT does excellent work in working with partnerships with schools to bring people on, and the business world and the legal world to get you these networking and mentoring opportunities as well. And this gives you flexible pathways with a sort of global recognition. So you've have the option to complete your degree with PIBT and then progress to further studies within the UK, because or a partner institution, we have Mitchell Hamlin University in America for postgraduate study, or take it and work in another country because the qualifications are respected both locally and internationally. And one of the real advantages of studying at PIBT is you'll get yourself what's called a qualifying law degree. And this covers the basic legal skills you need, contract law, criminal law, land law. And this qualifying law degree is a recognised qualification internationally. That means you can take it to do further study internationally and get exemptions from often the practical professional legal training in another country. And so, for instance, if you study at PIBT, you also get some exemptions for the College of Law in Sri Lanka for their practical tests to qualify as a lawyer in Sri Lanka. Otherwise, you have to take another quite extensive course. But because this is covered by a recognised legal system, you get lots of the exemptions to the basics, and then you just have to do a top-up, essentially, on Sri Lankan law. And so this concept of having a qualifying law degree from PIBT means you have both wide local practicalities and recognition, but also global recognition to go and study in or train as a lawyer in essentially any Commonwealth country, including taking the bar exams in the US. And depending on the exact country you go to will depend on the exemptions you will get, but you'll get some exemptions from a professional training. So it's a very, very flexible and valuable degree.
Thank you, Dr. Brunskell, for sharing your insights. And this will be the first of many, many webinar series we will be going to do by PIBT Law School. And thank you for joining us for the very first webinar today. And we just wanted to set the path, and we wanted to introduce and the importance of the LLB degree and the PIBT Law School from this webinar. And again, Dr. Brunskell, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and thank you all to your participants to joining today. If anyone have any questions, you can raise your questions now.
I'd be more than happy to answer questions, and just thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you and be involved in PIBT. At Greenwich, we value the partnership greatly, and we're very proud of the high standard of our degrees.
Yes, thank you so much, Doctor. And it seems like we can wrap it up there. And we hope this session has given you a clear picture of how a global law degree combined with the unique opportunities at PIBT can shape your legal career. If you are ready to take the next steps, our team is here to guide you on how to start your journey, and your path from classroom to courtroom can begin now. Thank you so much, Dr. Brunskell, for joining us for today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure.